Hey guys, Satchel here with another video, and today I'm going to show you how to do the enter-exit vehicle. So go ahead and open up Unity, and let's go ahead and name this one enter exit, and then go ahead and create project. And so you can see over here I have this Unity package that I've set up. I'm going to leave a link in that below so you guys can download it and follow along. Alright guys, once you have Unity loaded, go ahead and select Window and Asset Store, and then the search bar, search for standard assets. And you can see it's already preloading here with the standard assets from the Unity technologies. So go ahead and select that. I've already downloaded it, so once you've downloaded it, go ahead and import. And you're going to want to go ahead and import everything. You don't have to. You can dial it down, but for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and do everything here. Alright guys, so now that we have the standard assets from Unity Technologies imported into our project, go ahead and drag the enter-exit vehicle Unity package into your project. And these are the pieces that we're going to be importing in. This is an abandoned vehicle prefab. It's essentially just a stripped down car. So all the components that were added onto it for the standard assets, for like the AI and stuff, and other components were removed. So it's just a dead car. Essentially, it'll just sit there once you exit the vehicle. And then here's the car objects prefab. This is holding the driver's car, so the car that you're going to enter, as well as the abandoned car prefab. So both of those are loaded in here, and then you will load this whenever you enter another vehicle. It'll load this, and at that it'll spawn it at the position of the other car. Here's the abandoned car script. This will be attached to the abandoned car prefab, the car switcher script. That will be attached to the car objects prefab, and then the driver manager, that will be attached to a game object in our scene. And then we have, this is just an empty game object essentially to take place as the driver. So I'll kind of go over that more once we get into the scene. Here's the sample scene that I have set up for us. And here is a script that is part of the standard assets that I modified. So I'll kind of go over what I modified about that, and I'll show you how that all works. Alright, so we'll go ahead, import all this stuff. And you can disregard these errors again. Alright, so if we go to the vehicles in the standard assets and dive into the car, here is the folder that I created. So this is when you import it, you'll notice that this is a new folder that was not part of the standard assets. So let's go ahead and go to our scene window here, and then go ahead and select the enter exit. And you'll see I have some cubes here to kind of give you an idea of like when I was testing it out to see where the car was moving and the positions and all that stuff. So, alright, so without further ado, I will go ahead and show you how this works here. So I'll go ahead and press play. And essentially what you'll do is you'll walk up to the vehicle, there's a sphere collider, and then when you're inside of that sphere collider, you can press the E key to enter, drive around, press the E to exit, and then there is a timer, so you can't just jump right back in. You do have to wait a few seconds, but then press E again. So you can see how that works. And there are certain functionalities where you can spawn the character, say like right here, as opposed to like right here, or even if you're in one of those countries where you drive on the other side, you can manually set that in the scripts where you can exit on this side of the vehicle. All right, so yeah, that's how that works. So here is the driver manager. This is so the objects know what to switch, essentially, that are coming into the scene. This car objects prefab, when this gets loaded, it uses the driver manager. It loads the driver manager, and it will grab the characters here. So we have a character, and we have a driver that will switch, and then we also have a reverse version of that. Then we have the cameras, and then we also have a reverse version of the cameras. All right, so the reason why that we have the reverse is because when we load the car objects prefab, it's starting a new switcher. So it's gonna essentially start over again. Instead of exiting the vehicle, what you'll do is you'll just respawn that vehicle back at the initial position, as opposed to doing the reverse. It knows to go to the next step, and so it'll spawn you exiting and leaving the abandoned vehicle. So that's why I have the reverse. So here's our cameras loaded in this game object. So we have our main camera, which is following our character, and then we have the car camera. So that'll follow the car, and that'll follow the character. We have our character here, and then we have this empty driver prefab. So essentially, that's just to say, like if you wanted to add animations and actually have, say, if you were, say, located somewhere around the vehicle, you could switch from this character, your main player, to the AI character, which will run around the vehicle and enter whatever side you need it to, and then open the door, and then also get inside, kind of animations. Whereas this, I'm just showing you with an empty prefab. Here's our waypoint car. This is the initial car. You can see that sphere collider around it. And here's the waypoints that it's supposed to follow. I haven't messed around with it too much, I guess, since the initial scripting that I'll show you here in a minute. So when I trigger enter, it'll stop the car, and then when I trigger exit, it's supposed to continue on its path, but unfortunately it's not working. But that's kind of why I'm doing this video this way, so I can continue to work on the scripts, but at least you guys will know how the functionality works, and you can modify it to whatever games you like. So just keep that in mind, that these scripts aren't really finalized, and I'll continue to kind of update them as they go along, and if new videos are required, I'll go ahead and upload new videos. Okay, so now since we're on the waypoint car, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've done. Now I've added this portion right here to this script. So we'll go ahead and open this, and I'll show you what I've modified. Let's see if I can. Okay, so I have my blocks here to kind of indicate where we're at. Here's the header to kind of point out in the actual the inspector window to show us where the code that I added. All right, and yeah, so here's the driver manager. We're just getting a reference to that. The current active camera, we want to have references to that. So this is going to tell us what the current camera is when we go through the switching functionality. Same thing with the current active character. Here's our car objects. So this is the prefab that's going to be loaded when we press the E key to enter the vehicle. So the spawn point here, this is where we're going to load the car objects when we enter the vehicle. And here's our on trigger enter. Here's my debug. You can use that or you can delete it. Then we have so when the character enters, the M driving equals false, so it'll stop the car. And then here's where some of the magic is happening, the on trigger stay. So if other game object or if game object name character, you can switch this to say whatever you're using. So what the actual name is of the player here, so that's character. So if you were to change that, then you would have to change this in here. So that's a manual. That gives you a manual functionality. If you wanted to, you could add that as a string in the script, and have it pass through, and be able to just have a field in here that you could add that name to as well if you were doing a lot of different changes. And so within this, we have this is the switching functionality for the camera, and so it kind of holds two things in here. It holds the cameras, and then it also holds the characters. So I just left it as camera just for lack of a better term. And then we go through, we destroy the AI car because we're never going to use it again. Once we enter it, it's pretty much useless after that. So we go ahead and destroy it. And then we are instantiating the car objects at the spawn point position, the position of the destroyed AI car, as well as the rotation. And then here again, my debug log to let me know that it's the AI car button that I pushed to go through that functionality. And then here's my on exit. This is supposed to start the car driving in. So since it is true, and this one up here is false, I'm assuming that it's something to do with the waypoints where it's not updating that. So I'll continue to work on that, like I said. All right, and so here is our next camera functionality going through the switching. So that's essentially it for the car AI. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of the other scripts here. And so here's the folder, again, in the vehicles under car. And then under the data folder, this is where the scripts are for this project. And so here's the abandoned car, really simple script. Essentially what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing a reference to the car switcher. And so what it's doing is the on trigger enter when the character is in there and the key code E is pressed, and it's been 5 seconds, where I'll show you where to switch this as well, but in the car switcher, it holds a reference to the spawn time, how often we can actually enter and exit a vehicle. Here is in the car switcher script, we have the old switcheroo. So I'll go over that in just a moment. And then we have the debug log again, letting me know that when I'm pressing this key, it's for the abandoned car. So to enter the abandoned car, to drive that car, this is where it goes through that switching. I'll show you that script right now, is the old switcheroo. This is sort of the main script here that kind of does a lot of the heavy lifting. So here in the car switcher script, we have references here, and in this one, the driver manager. So when we load that prefab, the car objects prefab, it grabs a reference to the driver manager, so it knows the character and the driver to switch and the camera objects. We have the car camera object. We have a list of the cars. We also have another reference to the car. And then we have, going through the switching functionality again, we have the car, the active character, and the active camera. So we're going through switching from the abandoned car to the driving car, the character to the driver, and then again from the main camera to the car camera. Here's some references to our positions. This right here is for our rotation, and then we have the spawn position. This is for the character to when he's exiting the vehicle. We have a spawn period here. Here's what I was talking about earlier. You can change this to say like 2 seconds, but I just left it as 5, just to kind of show that it's functionality. And then that tells you how long it's been for the spawn time. And then here's the spawn distance. So as -2, that's going to put it back a little bit. So maybe if I did plus, because it was going backwards prior to, so maybe if I did plus, it'll adjust that, because now I'm actually getting out in kind of in front of the door. So maybe if I plus it, it'll put me behind the door. But this is tweakable. That's where you would tweak that. And then there's also some additional tweaking for that. Let me show you that real quick. If you were to get out on the other side of the vehicle, if you are driving with the steering wheel on the right side of the vehicle, all you have to do is take this 2 right here in the spawn position and add it to the first POD. So if you notice, we have 2 PODs. This one is for getting out on the other side. So let me go ahead and save this, and I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about when we switch this from here. So I'll go ahead and let that script load. Press play. And you can see he is getting out on the other side of the vehicle. So yeah, that's how that works. So just kind of going back to the editor here. So there's no special scripts on the camera's game objects here. There's no special functionality on the characters. There's nothing on this driver. It's really just on this driver manager, and really the only other stuff that we're focused on is this car objects here. So that's sort of the heavy lifting is going on right here. So we have the waypoint car. When you press the E, it spawns this car object. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like in the scene when we're actually playing it. So I'll go ahead and kind of show you over here. Let's go to the scene view as well. So here's our clone car objects, and you can see the script over here. I have public references to all the positions, and then a reference to the car because of the spawn position. Then we have also the switcheroo. So that's what that's for. It's pretty simple. There's not much lifting. The main things you need to worry about is the switching of the cars, and then we also need a reference to the spawn position. You don't need to set any of these functions down here, but yeah, so that should be self-explanatory right here. This should be self-explanatory, hopefully, right here. If you kind of see how the character is on top, and then the driver's on top, main camera, and then car cam. So that's all you really need to do by setting it up. If I'm planning on making another video But again, like I said, the script is kind of just still fresh. I just wanted to get it out there to you guys as soon as possible because I think it's pretty close to working. Um, so if you could tweak it a little bit yourself, that's wonderful. But like I said, I'll continue to try and update it. But for now, yeah, I think it's good enough. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask down below. Well, thank you so much for checking out my video today. I really do appreciate it. And if you liked it, please share and like it. Um, and if you did like it, please share it with your friends and enjoy the rest of your night.